Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I am your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
I need to see that koozie. Can you show me that? Look at that. All right, describe it to the folks at home listening via satellite.
It is a American flag style blue field, red and white stripes, but instead of stars, they're different saltwater fish. And it's from South Padre. It's from my trip back in November.
It's beautiful.
And it's wrapping a very, very tasty strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper Zero. It's been my favorite the past few days, past week or whatever.
Well done, sir.
My snack drink of choice. I still like the coconuts and cream one. It's just, it doesn't even come close to touching this one, man.
Well, and the koozie makes it taste better.
Oh, the koozie's 100%. I have to have every can I have has to have a koozie on it.
Well, it's stylish, and we're all about style these days, especially this week.
It's a as good of a segue as you're ever going to get on this show. Today is July 2nd. Yesterday was Adidas Day. Texas Tech officially beginning their partnership with Adidas and Patrick Mahomes. Although that's weird to say, like a partnership with Mahomes, but officially with Adidas as the equipment and apparel sponsor for the university and the university athletic programs. Welcome to Team Adidas and Three Stripe Life. Historically, I had not been a huge fan of Adidas. They had not done especially well on football uniforms. When I was mentally preparing myself, Michael, for a letdown with this because there were some pretty unfortunate uniform designs from Adidas, from other schools like A&M and Nebraska. There was like, man, if that's what we get hit with, ooh. But what you got, like, I think a lot of Tech fans liked it. I know I certainly did. You got a Tech brand version of the Kansas uniforms. Let's be honest.
It's pretty close. Ours doesn't have the jokey looking toucan on it, at least. But
I wanted you to say that on Twitter. You didn't do it.
Well, I appreciate the primer though. I mean, the official account or the official football account did a great job kind of showing where some of the things came from.
Yeah,
probably to head that off at the pass, but probably every uniform has had these details at some point. But the shoulder stripes were inspired by uniforms in the 90s with Zach Thomas. Helmet stripes inspired by helmets worn by Billy Joe Tolliver. I can't remember his heyday. Was he 70s or 80s?
I believe 70s.
Okay. So the helmet stripes, kind of a callback to that. The three stripe basic, color on the opposite spectrum of whatever the helmet color is. And then the black lettering, which I didn't know because I'm not a uniform aficionado, but the black lettering and numbers are an ode to the uniforms worn during the Leach era. So back during the Bass Boat Glitter heyday of the early 2000s and mid 2000s. So I did appreciate that primer, and it was probably partially to head off people making some pretty fair comparisons to the Kansas uniforms, and maybe among a few others. But I sure do like the look. I'm pretty impressed by it, and I don't think that they tried too hard, or they did too little or too much, or it seems just right to me.
Yeah. Um, I was trying to share the picture of it so we can talk through it a little bit. Max permissions, and it would have to force quit Chrome, and that would crash Riverside. So uh,
Oh,
you've all seen the pictures. You've all seen it. But yeah, like to what Michael's saying, like there are some historical elements to these. Yeah, a lot of people have had stripes on shoulders, and a lot of teams have stripes on pants or shoulders, whatever. Um, Upgrades, I think that a lot of people identified with the font, the Texas Tech font across the chest, much larger. I didn't realize how small it was until I did a side
yeah,
by side. So
same.
now it goes shoulder to shoulder, like all the way across. Last year it was one. The numbers were also smaller on the front chest, but it was like basically ear to ear. Like if you draw like a vertical line down from your ears, like that's how wide the number and Texas Tech was. Um, and now it's much wider. Um, and I'm sure everybody's noticed on the red jerseys, it doesn't say Texas Tech across the chest; it says Red Raiders, which I think is a welcome detail. I know the athletes were picking up on some of the details when they were doing their reaction video. Like the back plate says "Guns Up" on it instead of like Riddell or whatever it is, whatever brand it is they wear. Um, I I'll probably have to I'll have to get used to the stripe on the helmet, especially the stripe on the black helmet. I think that's something I just haven't seen in a long time, and obviously not since I was a fan. Um, Big thing is that there's no red helmets, which with Under Armour you couldn't ever get a matching red across the three levels, whether it was your helmet and pant jersey were all three different reds. Um, so you dropped that. Um, all in all, it's like a modernized throwback, which is an oxymoron. I get that.
It's kind of what
Um,
everybody wanted, or they
yeah, I
claimed
mean,
they wanted. You know.
I mean these are based on your throwbacks. It's not an exact throwback. Um, but they're clean. You don't have like any weird contrast issues that you did with a previous uniform refresh. I'm thinking back to like it was early Tuberville. Like they changed the font on the numbers a little bit, and then like
Yeah.
the jersey number outline like however they did it, it was like it made it too difficult to read something. Um, so they've cleaned that up. Michael and I were talking a little bit about our favorite combinations. I've always been a big fan of the black helmet, red jersey, black pant. Um, like even when going back to like the Leach era, when you had like the stripe that went across your shoulder down the side and like lined up with the pants. Even when you had that and the stripe was a different color, like it was obviously a little cleaner when it was a solid, like when your jersey color and your pant color matched, so that the stripe color was the same. But even then, like when it was, red jersey with the black stripe going to black pants with the red stripe, still great. It was still good to me. But now it's like, oh, it looked really good.
Yeah,
Um,
I that's not traditionally that's probably not been my favorite combo, and I don't know why. I think I've leaned towards the all blacks, and I've really liked some of the all white iterations recently. I know that's a lot of people don't, uh, but I'm going back on what I liked about them. I think that the all whites had a lot of red that really made them pop. But what I like about these all whites is complete opposite. Is it has a lot of black, some really
mhm.
bold contrasts. You know, those stripes are the same thickness across all uniforms, and the numbers are the same size, and and they're all black. All of the accent on the white uniforms is mostly black, and I really think that looks sharp. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think of the combos that we've gotten to see so far, black, red, black has been my favorite, and I've been surprised at how much I've liked black, white, black. That's not traditionally one that I really care for that much. And y'all have heard me talk about uniforms. It's usually just, that's fine. Looks pretty good. And that's kind of where I am with this, but in the best way, not being dismissive about it. I've really enjoyed what I've seen, and I've just named off a couple of combos that I've traditionally not really cared for that much that look great with this, with Adidas.
Yeah. So I'll kick off a discussion on things that I don't like. Just and it's brief. It's small, and it's not specific to Adidas. It's not like it came out. It's like, oh, I don't like that. Um. Okay, so you have three uniform elements, right? You have a helmet, shirt, pant. For whatever reason, to me, it has to alternate. Like, like whatever. If you're gonna have two different same colors touch, then it should be all three should be the same.
Mhm.
Um, so of the six options we were shown, you have four home options. One of them is black helmet, red shirt, red pants. Don't like that combination. It's least favorite by far. I would be okay if we never wore red pants.
I've never liked
Um,
them really either.
and I like it. Just it never the red pant like it doesn't really. You can't pair it up with anything else and have it look good. Like red pants just don't look good.
Yeah, the I think I remember they would do that some. It would be like sometimes when they would try out the red helmets, didn't they do red, white, red
Yeah,
a few
we've done
times?
that.
Woof.
They, I, I think they did a black, white, red before.
Oh yeah, I've never liked that. That
Um,
I'm kind of with you there. You've got to either go all three of them are the same or top and bottom are the same.
yeah. So your road jerseys being black, white, black. I like that.
Yep.
I love that.
That's sharp,
Um,
man.
I like the all whites if you're playing a team that will also be monochrome. If they're all like, if you're playing a team like Iowa State and it's like, if they're blackout game, then you should be wearing all white. Or West Virginia at home and they're wearing all navy or all gold or whatever. Like, um, otherwise, I like the black, white, black on the road. I like the white, black, white
I do
as
too.
a just a different at home. Like it wouldn't be my primary choice. I think my choice home uniform would be black, red, black. I think if you're going to designate a blackout game, great. You have one of those. You wear all black. Um, and then a white, black, white for home. And then, like I said, on the road, I think you just kind of match the home style. Like if they're all one color, then you're going to be wearing all white. If they're alternating, then you wear your black, white, black. So the other five, I love them. I like them. The black helmet, red shirt, red pant, not my favorite. You didn't get a designated like throwback or a specific Mahomes branded one. Sounds like that's coming, maybe for next season, or maybe you'll have a special reveal in season for that specific game. Um, but at
Be
least
cool
for
if it
me,
was a bowl game thing or something. If Tech's able to make
ooh,
one.
yeah. Do you remember the yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask if you remember like the Nike. Uh, it wasn't specific to Jumpman, but they did like a one-off jersey for Nike specific schools that was a little bit different. I'm thinking like Oklahoma when they would wear like their white helmet and like red shirt, red pants or whatever it was. But like it had like the big white stripes on it too. Anyways, that's kind of like what I was thinking. Like you'll get like one of those, but for a bowl game, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and going back to the uniforms themselves, this is a guy looking at it on Twitter, but the jersey material just seems thicker to me. It just seems more durable than what we've seen from Under Armour. Armour seemed to be really thin and really shiny and would be discolored halfway through the first quarter from everyone's sweat, which hey, that's what's going to happen on August 30th possibly, but I just have a little bit more hope with these that they look a little bit more durable and they look like they've got uh, some more thickness to them.
Yeah. Definitely better than like this was definitely a Tuberville era uniform tweak when they went to like the super tight uniform. Like, oh, it's supposed to help make sure that your opponents can't grab you as well. They can't grab cloth because it's so tight. Ooh, those were a choice. No, but these look like obviously like they're well fitting. They look like they're decent material, decent construction. We haven't, at least I haven't seen any other sport specific reveals yet. Like they've had some teases and sneak peeks at other sports, but I haven't seen full on uniform reveals for anybody else just yet.
There was one for soccer, so they did have that today.
Yes, I saw that, and
I cannot comment on a soccer kit. I mean, I'm even more out of my depth than talking about a football uniform. I think they look fine. They look great. But what got me, Spencer, were the shoes. You should go check out the shoes because they are white shoes. Then the 3 stripes and the logo and everything on the shoes are a bright, shiny gold. They look really cool. It's like, man, I need to get. Did they make these in my size? I don't need cleats. I guess I could just.
boots.
Well, maybe I
you mean?
need cleats to coach my 7-year-old, help her
Yeah.
with her soccer practice. But yes, I did see that they revealed that today, but I haven't seen anything else aside from, across Twitter and Facebook, all of the associated team pages from softball to golf to basketball to everybody. They're all changing their main photos to have the double T emblem along with the Adidas logo and or the Mahomes Gladiator logo. So I've been seeing that, but yeah, I think soccer's been the only other reveal so far. The uniforms look great, like I said, but I don't think I had a big qualm with what Under Armour was doing there. I can just say from experience, the one pair of Under Armour shoes I hated. So I'm happy for the girls to have possibly a much better shoe and for a shoe that's looks as sharp as this one does.
Well, yeah, and Adidas certainly has some history in soccer and football.
Oh yeah,
equipment. So
did you hear that?
I did. That's pretty good.
Jackass setting fireworks over my damn house.
You need to go check for fire.
Yeah, I might.
Anyways, so big fan of
Me too.
the Adidas reveal. I think it was also handled really well leading up to it and day of in terms of media and social media. Your reveal video got a lot of traction online. People saying like that was a really smart way to call back to Mahomes having to cover up his Under Armour stuff with
Adidas
tag.
Mahomes had his own video, from on Adidas website.
That shirt that he was in,
yeah, it looks pretty sharp.
That tech shirt, like it just says tech. Is it in like camo?
No, it's just kind of. I was about to say distressed, but it's really not even distressed because I actually just hit play on it. Maybe it is. Maybe it is kind of a digital camo, or it's distressed. I can't tell. But yeah, the white, because it's white lettering with red outline, and a lot of the white does kind of look like it could go one way or the other on camo or a distressed look.
Sharp. I have not bought anything.
Me neither. I was looking at it.
I will just yet, but
I know. I'm trying. I'm purposely. Adam and I were talking about it today. We were texting. He's like, "So how much money have you spent?" And I said, "None yet." He said, "Me neither. I'm trying. I'm really trying not to." And I said, yeah, I'm kind of the same boat because my plan with Spencer was to get closer to football season, like just try to stay out of an apparel shop as long as I can, because I know that if I walk into one now, I'll just be grabbing. And I still may be doing that in, August 25th or whatever, but at least I'll feel justified because football's about to start. Well, I need some new stuff.
Any new
Everything.
golf polo with a little Red Raider.
Yeah, get some of those
Logo on
$80
there.
polos. Sure.
I mean, I
I
don't
can't
buy
believe
them.
those. I know. I spend money on those. I do wear those, and I buy them when they were, Antigua or whatever, and Under Armour and all the brands. So I mean, that's just what they cost. It's still crazy that that's what they cost, but I buy them. So yeah, I was actually looking at all the stuff on Adidas website right now. Some of the hoodies look pretty cool. One thing missing though, Spencer, and I know a lot of people are going to be upset about it. And this may not be the case at the local places, but at least on Adidas website, I don't see a single flat double T anywhere.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing people were looking forward to was to see if they were going to go with a throwback Texas Tech logo, and they did not. Stay with
I'm not
the
surprised by that at all. I'm not upset by that, even though, of course, I'm wearing a beveled right now because it's from the Alumni Association. But most of what I buy when I have the chance is the flat double T. But I don't. I'm not as tore up about it as some folks. It's still a double T. It still represents my school. It's on my diploma. I'll be fine.
So, looking at Red Raider Outfitter, who I heard kind of stepped in it last night when they turned everything on at midnight, and then turn it back off real quick. They have, from what I can tell, 2 Under Armour branded polos.
It better be on sale.
$75 for a
Damn
pre-order.
it.
One of them reminds me a lot of like what they would give like a soccer player. So you got a Texas Tech double T on the chest, but it's in a big circle. It looks like they have 3 stars, and then the Adidas logo on the right side, like a white piping down the button collar, whatever you would call that. And then their white one does not have the circle around the double T. The double T's in color, and then the black piping. That one looks pretty sweet.
Dude, they have some Texas Tech slides
on
Red
Adidas
Raider
website?
Outfitter. No, it's I didn't see it on Adidas, but who knows? Maybe I'm not clicking enough. But Red Raider Outfitter has quite a bit more things.
Oh, Adidas. I just go to Adidas.
Even with them, here's one with a flat double T. It's a long sleeve T-shirt. Yeah, a couple of here's a hoodie. So Red Raider Outfitters does have some flat double T stuff in Adidas if folks are so inclined, but really not much. Very little.
That black hoodie with the Texas, like the script Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's the one with the flat double T.
It's pretty sweet. Got some locker room shirts. I don't know if I love like a shirt with like 3 logos across the front. Like if you're gonna do all 3 of them.
Yeah, it's a little busy.
But anyways, it's there. It's out there in the world now. Sleeveless hood.
Cross country shirt. Get your cross country T-shirt.
Ooh, the quarter zip, like a little batting cage jacket. I don't love the whole like belly pocket, but anywho's, we've been talking about the
I know
website too much.
We're apparently more excited than I'm more excited than I thought I was to talk fashion.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time coming. I know a lot of people have been upset and ready for a change. So
I've
I don't.
personally liked Adidas. Adidas. Oh my gosh, I'm already messing this up. I've personally liked most of the Under Armour things I've purchased, aside from the shoes I mentioned. So I still may purchase some Under Armour stuff here and there. Don't tell anybody. But I know that I'm maybe not in the minority, but I think there's so many people that just get wrapped up in that. I understand having an opinion on the uniforms and not liking them, but then all of a sudden, all the Under Armour stuff you've bet over the last decade is just trash. I don't think that's really true. Oh, this is so much better. Everything Adidas makes is so much better. It's going to be
Right.
just the most perfect thing. So I've seen some of that, but I think most people are like, when my Under Armour shirt wears out, then okay, I'll mow in it, and then I'll toss it and maybe replace it with an Adidas one. We'll see.
Yeah. So we're excited. I like the update, the refresh on the uniforms. Excited to see this special Mahomes Gladiator branded one. And
Is
maybe
that logo growing on you? I know that
not yet.
when this was first announced, people realized what his logo were. They had a lot of strong opinions on it.
I don't love it. Um,
I think it looked great as a tattoo on your bicep.
I think so. Over here on
Yeah,
the outside of my shoulder.
yeah, you could pull it off.
I don't think so.
I'll do it for you. How hard can it be? I can trace.
Yeah. Do you want to take a step back and talk about 23 personnel plans this summer,
Oh,
or
sure.
you want to forge on through football and then come back to that?
Now let's go ahead and let's break it up.
Okay, so um, being that we're in the off season, we're not going to be streaming every week. We should have a recording out for you, the devoted listener, every week, and including video. But um, every other week, we may miss something timely and touch on it the next week because we are recording two at a time, but releasing one every week so you can have us in your feed every week. But also, we're going to try to avoid kitschy off-season nonsensical conversations. The restaurant sauce breakdown will be the last of it, probably, which we'll wrap that up tonight. We are planning to do preview / introductions to the 4 new Big 12 schools, where Michael and I will each take a school a week, and we'll tell you what they did last year, their coaching staff, any big changes, what you can expect from them, and that'll serve as like that school's preview, especially if they're not on this. Or it'll serve as a preview, kind of, if they're not on the schedule. Obviously, when we get to game week, we'll do a game preview. But like for Utah, like we will talk about Utah once this year, and it will be this summer, because they're not on the schedule. So we'll do that. That'll start on the 16th. We'll also have a Big 12 Media Day recap, and then going into the beginning of August, we will have we'll kind of set the stage for the start of the 2024 football season, which will include reminders, touch on any of the big changes that are coming into this season that you may have forgotten about. You may be like, I'll worry about that later. We're going to do all kinds of deep dive and research on that. Talk about new conferences and who's where. Remind you that, hey, the SEC won't have divisions this year, first time in forever. They'll still have their predicted rivalries, but there won't be an East and West. new rules going into effect, major transfers or coaching changes that you just don't remember. Like um, Jerry Kill, I think, is at NC State now. Um, when he was at Utah, or not Utah,
Is New Mexico?
he was at New Mexico and he was at TCU. I think he was at UTEP
It
at
might have
one
been New
point too.
Mexico State too, just to be
So
exact.
just as an example of why you may need that. Not that we really care about where Jerry Kill is, but
I do. I care.
um, or like Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham already has retirement plans in place and his succession plan. Tell you what role Nick Saban's going to have on College Game Day. I don't know, just stuff like that, right? Then we'll do our conference predictions like we always do the week before we go into game prep. So week 0 will be Big 12 conference predictions. We'll go through everybody's schedule. We'll do over-unders, lock it in for the season, and then you'll tell us what we did wrong. The following week, week 1 for Texas Tech, game week, we will do Texas Tech predictions, go through game by game for Tech. And then we will give you our game preview for ACU, the Abilene Christian Wildcats. And then we're off, man. We'll be recording preview and instant reaction.
It'll be here before we know it, folks.
I mean, as much as August 27th sounds like a long way away, I mean, it's really not. So that's on the docket for us this summer. If we miss something pressing, you're like, those guys just completely whiffed on it. It's because it happened on a week we didn't record.
Yeah, sorry.
Just we'll probably touch on it if we remember the next week. But yeah, so bouncing back to football, the Texas Tech or the Big 12 football. Let's do the conference preseason selections. Sorry, preseason poll. That's what it's called. Conference preseason poll. And then we'll do the all Big 12 preseason. It came out teams 1 through 16. Texas Tech checked in at number 9 here. Gut reaction feels low.
Yeah.
There are probably a couple schools ahead of us that I would bump down to make room for Texas Tech to come up. But also, like, I don't fault them for this. Because I'm still unclear about starting quarterback this year. Is Baron Morton going to be able to play?
Why do you say that, Spencer? He was out there, and the new uniforms look great. He's fine.
And some people thought the GoPro chest rig he was wearing was an arm brace. It wasn't. It was he was wearing a GoPro. Typically, if you fly him all over the country for second and third and fourth opinions, it's because you didn't get a good one. Because, Michael, let me tell you, if I went to a doctor, he said, "You're all good to go." Great. I'm strapping it up. I'm going out there. I'm not seeking a second opinion to confirm good news I already heard.
Yeah.
That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he has been visiting with other sports medicine physicians around the country this summer. So just let that, you read into that what you want to. Offensive line isn't massively improved over last season. You do have Taj Brooks, who is all world running back.
We have 9 tight ends. So
you can't have a center and 5 tight ends on the field. Just roll them out there as offensive linemen.
Everyone learns everyone's position. Just slide them over.
Your wide receiving group is largely untested and unproven. It's a hodgepodge of guys that have been good or have expectations to be good, but have not played together. The guys that were on campus, you were like, I would hope for a step forward, but like, that's why you saw them hit the portal as hard as they did, the recruiting staff. Defense, I mean, you're missing out on your stalwarts on the defensive line. You're having to replace Hutchings and Bradford. Oh my gosh, blanked on the mayor's name. You love that you have Ben Roberts and Rodriguez back. Secondary, Baskerville should be pretty good. So like all that to say, middle of the conference, not all that upset about it. Kansas at 4, red flags.
Well, we should here. Let's do this.
Let's
real
go
quick.
through them. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll go through them.
We haven't said them all yet.
Maybe some of these change with some off-season news, like, oh, I don't know, Heisman candidate running back getting arrested for DUI this weekend. Oklahoma State, looking at you. Topping the conference, year 1 for them, Utah. I hate it because I don't I don't like some newcomer coming in and just immediately winning the conference, especially one that's come in with as much douchebaggery as their fan base has shown.
Chicanery.
Would love for them to not finish first. Second, Kansas State. Not surprised there, especially with the nightmares I've been having with Avery Johnson at quarterback. Oklahoma State at 3rd. I think a lot of that has to do with the history, the consistency with Gundy. Even on down years, they're not that down. And they've got Ollie Gordon. Well, maybe. We'll see how the discipline process works out in Stillwater.
Oklahoma State's winning 8 and 9 games on a down year. So, I think they belong in the top 3 almost. I don't want to say guaranteed, but most years, I wouldn't think twice about putting them in the top 3 in this conference until Gundy's gone, maybe, or they have a lot of unfortunate down years in a row.
Yeah. Here's where it gets wild because I don't unproven or not unproven. It's just like I have questions here. Kansas at 4. Yes, they have great offensive skill positions. We talked about their big 3. Also, if you haven't listened to one of the more recent Gauchos conversations about who has historically the best big 3 in Texas Tech, like untouched in that category, especially if you want to add in a tight end. If you haven't heard it, it's now a couple episodes back, but they discuss historical best of quarterback, running back, wide receiver yards, better than anybody else that you could think of. Kansas has a great set. I don't know if it's strong enough to hold them in a top quartile finish in the conference. Arizona replacing a coaching staff at 5. I don't love that. Iowa State at 6. I can understand that though. West Virginia at 7. We thought Neil Brown had to do something last year, and he did enough to keep his job. UCF at 8. They lost a lot to finish top half of the conference.
They did. I feel like that's the one team, except for maybe Kansas, but Kansas is too far up there. But realistically, since they're just one spot ahead, I think that's the one team I could easily say Tech belongs above them and should be number 8. And I'm not sure Tech can reasonably go above West Virginia with what they were able to do last year. I'm not sure why Iowa State's so high either, but I don't know if they should be below Tech either. So I don't know. Of those 8 that you mentioned, I think Tech's better than Kansas, but Kansas is too far up for us to leapfrog them. So, maybe Tech should be 7 and Kansas should be 8 and UCF should be 9. And I could live with
Arizona,
that. And everyone else kind of moves up.
yeah, Arizona could be bad.
They could. And West Virginia, I could see Arizona and West Virginia swapping. I think it's a
Sure.
little bit, I'm a little surprised at how low West Virginia came in, but obviously I haven't looked at their rosters and seen what they've lost, who they've, what their schedule looks like. I'm sure that's being considered too. But just face value, I wouldn't say shocked everybody last year, but surprised probably almost everybody. Wasn't that their big gimmick? They were picked 13.
13, 14, something like that. Yeah.
I think they were picked 13 and definitely did not finish there.
No. So top half: Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Arizona, Iowa State, West Virginia, UCF. Second half: Texas Tech at 9, TCU at 10, Colorado 11, Baylor 12, BYU 13, Cincinnati 14, Houston 15, Arizona State 16.
It's hard to argue with a whole lot of that, except that Colorado could probably be lower. I almost think Colorado and BYU should flip.
Cincinnati could be a little bit higher than 14.
Yeah. But those weren't really, none of those were really that close. Tech had 532 points, and then it really drops off. TCU had 436. Colorado had 400, and then it really drops off again. Baylor had 268. Yeah.
215 for
Yeah, the remaining 5 had, between 268 and 141 points. Whereas Utah had 906 with 21st place votes, and K-State had 889 with 19 first place. There were, Kansas had 5 first place votes. Arizona had 3.
Makes no sense.
I think people are losing their minds that those other 2 schools are gone. And part of it's true that it is, hey, OU definitely dominated Big 12 football for the entirety of its existence. But that doesn't mean Kansas is going to step in and win the league in year 1 without OU there. That was all that was holding them back was the Sooners.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't Longhorns because they were beating them pretty good.
Yeah, they didn't have any issue with UT. Yeah. It's that school in Norman that was giving them trouble.
So yeah, I can make a case for Texas Tech being a few spots higher. I'm
not getting my feelings hurt about this.
No.
It's a preseason poll, but yeah, I agree. I 9 seems low. 7 seems about where I thought, where I feel like Tech probably is realistically, but that's why they play the games, Paul.
Yeah, plenty to prove with the team that you put together, and who rolls out there August 30th. Speaking of who is rolled out there, let's look at the preseason All Big 12 teams. Let's start with let's just go offense first. Also, newcomer of the year, just because it's right there on the picture, KJ Jefferson, one of the big transfers that you need to keep an eye on because he played at Arkansas most recently. All right, let's go through the offensive positions. Quarterback Shadir Sanders. Is he the best? I mean, probably, but
Is he
on a
though?
team that's gonna finish bottom third, can you have the best quarterback on a team that finishes bottom third? I don't know.
Well, I mean, Tech probably had that in 2016,
But we're not saying
even though no one
Sanders
was
is
going to call
Patrick
Mahomes the
Mahomes.
best. Yeah, no one's going to call him the best quarterback. Anyway,
Did you see that guy? I can't remember what school he would be affiliated with.
TCU, obvious troll.
Was it TCU?
It's got
Okay.
to be the worst. Yeah.
Talking about like why like Tech's obsession with Mahomes when he wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
That was just the baitiest of troll bait. It was well crafted.
Okay. 2 running backs on the list, Ollie Gordon and Taj Brooks. You're one of 2 offensive players to make this list. I don't think Gordon is going to miss time or be removed from the team, but however the discipline system works out could play a factor. Like he's still a just ridiculously talented running back.
Well, I forget the guy's name. I think it's Kurtz, maybe. What he pointed out though was, you look at and spoiler alert, there's a lot of Oklahoma State players on the offensive side and
4, yeah.
2 on the defensive side. And they're picked, what, 3rd in the league? And Utah is supposed to win the league, and they have
1.
3 players total on this list. Yeah, 1 on offense, 2 on defense, and then Kansas. I have yet to see a Kansas player they've got 2 on defense. So I mean, it's just kind of a little contradictory here.
Yeah. But here we are.
That's what's fun. That's what we talk about on July 2nd.
That's the reason this list was put out for discourse. Fullback, all Big 12 preseason fullback. How many of these are in the league? Don't know. But Steve-O Klotz from Iowa State is the selection. Wide receivers. I'm going to butcher these names because they're just new to me. But McMillan from Arizona. I'm not going to attempt his first name. T. McMillan. Kobe Hudson from UCF, Jaden Higgins, Iowa State, Brennan Presley from Oklahoma State. How does that dude still have eligibility? It feels like he's been there for a decade. And then Brant Kuithi. I know that's wrong, from Utah. There's the one Utah offensive player, tight end, Brant Kuithe. Offensive line, Jonah Savaiinaea. Nope, that's not it. Savaiinaea. Offensive line from Arizona, Luke Kandra, Cincinnati, Dalton Cooper, and Joe Mikowski, both from Oklahoma State, and then Wyatt Milam from West Virginia. Your place kicker, Tyler Loop from Arizona, and your kick/punt returner, Dre McCray from Texas Tech.
Yay.
Let's slide over to defense. Your defensive line, you're rolling 5 deep here. Tyler Batty, don't like him. With however that went down with the game against Texas Tech last year. Dante Corleone, fantastic name.
It's just killer. One of the best ones on this whole list.
Cincinnati. That picture of him on this also reminds me a lot of like Sean Oakman.
Yeah. Big dude.
Baylor. BJ Green II from Colorado. Lee Hunter, UCF, and Junior Tafuna from Utah. Linebackers, Jacob Manu, Nick Martin, Colin Oliver. Manu is from Arizona, and then the 2 other linebackers are from Oklahoma State. Defensive backs, Dacario Davis, Arizona. Travis Hunter, no surprise there, Colorado. And Jeremiah Cooper, Iowa State. Kobe Bryant and Mello Dotson from Kansas. And then your punter, Jack Bellmeister from Utah. So Utah, on the back of a tight end, a defensive lineman, and a punter, supposed to win the conference this year.
That's it. That's all they need.
I mean, we know the value of a good punter from Austin McNamara, but he's not winning the conference.
He could paint. He could paint the corners. Just masterpiece. The Bob Ross of punting.
So, Big 12 Media Days comes up next week. Will be Tuesday and Wednesday. All kinds of great things coming out. We'll have a full recap of that for the following week. Any interesting tidbits or notes or storylines. So this year it will be at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The last thing I think we want to talk about, Michael, at least for football, adios to the Longhorns and the Sooners, and subsequently the Longhorn Network. Let that thing just rest in peace. After
I saw on Twitter, I think the plug was pulled while they were playing the 06 Rose Bowl again.
Good.
And I don't think that's a joke. I think that's what was on.
I don't doubt it. There was a time this evening, I was looking to see if the SEC preseason predictions had come out just to compare with the Big 12. I was like, you know what? I really don't care. I really don't. Best of luck to you, Sooners. Your schedule sucks. You're going to get just absolutely obliterated. Texas, we'll see if you're for real. A little backhanded compliment or shot at the Big 12, whether or not you're good, or if you were just Big 12 good. Which, whatever. I hope you fail. I hope you fall flat on your face.
And somehow
cash checks,
go bankrupt too.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Somehow make a lot of bad investments. Someone needs to really start embezzling a lot of money from that athletic program.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
Just please start doing that. But I'm kind of the same boat as you. I'm trying to make a vow that now that this has gone through, I don't plan to ever tweet about either of those schools again. I'm really going to try to do that. I've been going through my timeline. Anytime something tweets about the SEC or UT or OU, I really look where it came from, and I decide whether or not I still want to follow that person, because I've been trying to unfollow all the UT, because I followed other schools and folks that covered other schools and stuff, so that I could, they're part of the conference. But now that they're not, I'm like, okay, sorry, Kirk Bowles. I think we're done here. A couple of these other guys, I'm like, hey, you're a good writer, but I don't want to hear it. I don't have to hear it anymore. This does not affect my fandom for my school. This team is not coming to Lubbock anytime soon, so I don't have to worry about it. But I almost broke my rule already today, just because of all of the discourse among, well, who's the real UT? And it's just great. I'm so glad that someone else has to deal with that BS. Y'all go ahead. Fight amongst yourselves. And, my two Facebook friends that are diehard OU and UT fans who never went to either school, I'm really happy for them that they're just off doing their own thing, as long as they keep Tech's name out of their mouth. And I'm going to try to do the same.
I'm hoping it's going to go the way that Texas A&M went. when they left the Big 12 and went to the SEC, like very, very quickly, they just fell off of like our collective radar. We didn't talk about them. We didn't think about like we didn't cross paths with anybody. Like obviously, we still see people with Texas A&M gear and logo, but not having to face them. You don't
Yeah.
have to engage with them. You don't have to talk to them. Like you give them exactly 0% of your brain. Like means nothing. Um, couldn't care less. My neighbor came out of his house the other day wearing a Texas A&M hat. I was like, don't like that. And I was like, actually, I
Oh
don't
well.
care.
Yeah, it's kind of
His daughter graduated and is now well, I say now. She's been down there for a year now. Um, and she's an Aggie, so like I get it. Like he has family, he's paying bills to Texas A&M.
well, and
But
I don't know if you've seen. I can't remember if you have. When we got our most recent car a few years back, my wife went and picked it out, and it was maroon, and I just thought it was a great looking color, and I never really thought twice about it. I did think later, I was like, if A&M was still in the conference, I might have had some qualms about it, but I would have let it go because that's ridiculous. But I do think at some time I might have did like a pump fake. Like, are you sure? I mean, there's a really nice I don't know, blue one over here.
any other
There's
color.
any other. There's a tan one. Um, but yeah, the fact that we have a maroon car, and I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. It's a good looking car. I feel like I've grown.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go buy a burnt orange, you know, F-250 King Ranch or something
Mm-mm.
for several reasons. But I'm just, I'm just not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've reached that point yet. I haven't. I'm not going to extend that olive branch. I'm not going to find a crimson. I'm trying to think of some. Yeah, crimson Denali. Drive it.
I don't envision either one of you driving a Denali. But just it doesn't seem to fit the vibe of the McDonald household.
Yeah, we're pretty low key.
Yeah. And y'all have the one child. You
Yeah,
don't need all this, but not that people that drive big cars like that need all this space. Let's be honest.
it's true.
I knew somebody that had to move up, in their words, had to move up, um, with the birth of their one child into a suburban. I was like,
Ooh.
no, you really didn't. Um,
We did go from sedan to midsize SUV. We did make that leap because babies have bulky things.
they do car
They have some
seats, strollers, pack and
yes.
plays.
And if you've got mother-in-laws that you want to take with us places, and then all of a sudden spaces fill up really quick. So
Yep.
that was one of the reasons. But yeah, we're not going to be getting the 15 passenger van.
The Sprinter van. No. Hey, okay. One more thing about not having to think about Texas or A&M again. Did you see this tweet earlier, Michael, about where Gavin Cash is going to go play baseball next year?
Great segue. Yes, go on.
Thankfully, I guess, especially if he figures out his offensive, his woes from this season. I don't know if it was just was not committed to the team or whatever it is that it was. But you won't have to see him. He will not be on your schedule. He is going down to College Station. C-Stat, as I saw all over Twitter today. I was like, that's
what?
stupid.
People call it that?
C-Stat, yep. Capital C, capital S, T-A-T.
Oh, I'm seeing. I'm on the tweet right now. Yeah. Someone called Houston Sports News says, "Welcome to CStat."
Anyways,
Oh.
I guess the players love the hire of the promotion, whatever you want to call it, of the hitting coach down there for A&M. I think that was just a giant slap in the face from Texas. Um, Not only like they took your coach, and then you went through so many different options to then just go back and promote your hitting coach. Now it sounds like he's very well liked, and maybe this was a move to retain the roster since you had a very fairly talented roster. But big and bad Texas A&M down there playing for a national title
Yeah.
couldn't pull a sitting coach and promoted essentially a position coach, offensive advisor. So best of luck to you, Gavin Cash, and I hope you are able to use this and eventually go play professionally. Glad you're not on the schedule. Hope you have some thick skin, having the jokes of playing at Tech, Texas, and A&M all in your career. Maybe he'll get a new glove. For whatever reason, he never got a new glove here at Tech, but I doubt they'll let him keep the Longhorn glove playing for the Aggies. Don't know why we let him keep it, but there you go.
I don't either. It was obviously not a superstition thing. That was the case. It should have been tossed into the trash.
So, let's wrap this up, Michael. Let's finish this up with restaurant sauce breakdown update, and finish up with what we learned.
All right.
So, as we talked about last week, we had formed the bracket of the remaining 4 sauces.
And I don't know the results. I do know who the final 2 were, but I have not checked in to see who actually won the contest.
Yeah, so let's go back real quick. You had 1 versus 4, which was Wingstop Ranch versus Casa Ole green sauce, and this was a hotly contested poll here. Wingstop Ranch edged out Casa Ole green 53% to 47. So Wingstop moves into the finals, and then on the other side of the bracket, you had DQ white gravy and the Caprock down and dirty sauce. Caprock, unfortunately, was handicapped here. They were going to be the uphill fight here. The white gravy ended up winning 59 to 41 to set the stage for finals of Wingstop Ranch versus Dairy Queen white gravy. That poll ran, Michael. The final percentage was a little bit more skewed than I expected to be. 63 to 37.
Oh no.
Wingstop Ranch over DQ white gravy.
This was Cinderella's year. This was supposed to be Cinderella's year, but no. The big favorite wins. I'm hurt. Larry McMurtry is hurt. Think of Larry McMurtry, people. He would be very disappointed.
So, I get it from like the perspective of the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Just being able to use the Wingstop Ranch on a multitude of things. Not only could you do it for your wings and fries at Wingstop, you put on salad, pizza, crust, the versatility. There it is. Is just a little bit broader than the white gravy. White gravy is also versatile, like going bread, all kinds of bread,
Fries,
chicken, fries, chicken,
baked potato.
basically anything starchy and flour based. But there you go. Wingstop Ranch comes through. And this year's edition, I'm just kidding. We're not doing this again. In the tournament bracket of restaurant sauces, Wingstop Ranch. You disagree, but
That's fine. It doesn't matter. It wasn't up to me. We had to get the people involved, and it was pretty much a landslide.
Unfortunately for you,
Yeah.
and for Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up with what do we learn? What do you say?
Sounds good.
All right.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
All right, Michael. What did we learn?
Well, I've learned I have a birthday tomorrow, and
Happy
my
early
family,
birthday.
thank you, would like to take me out to dinner, and so I wrestled with this quite a bit.
Do the results tonight influence your decision?
Yeah, we're going to Dairy Queen. No, I'm
Just gonna drink ranch. Not ranch. Gonna drink the
No.
white gravy.
How dare you?
I misspoke. I'm sorry.
No, but all of our talk these last couple weeks definitely influenced me. So I really want a good chicken fried steak. And so we're going to Ike's for dinner
Nice.
tomorrow, which I know has, because I've had it before and I still love it. It's one of my favorite things. It was probably one of my first foods that I genuinely loved, because that would be what I would do for my birthday as like a 10 and 12-year-old, is we would go to a good chicken fried steak place in Abilene. And that was what I wanted to do. So anyway, now that
And
I don't
then
eat them as much anymore, I feel like I
just
should
get the
have one on my
entire-
birthday.
Sorry, you get the entire plate just drenched
Oh,
in gravy.
yeah.
Chicken fried
With
steak, mashed potatoes, fries, bread, whatever. it is.
Whatever's on that plate.
Everything. Green
More.
beans, sure.
I need more. Bring me a chalice. A chalice of gravy. I really like Back 40, but I just wanted to go to Ike's just because it's a little bit larger. There's just kind of more places to sit. But Back 40 has a great jalapeno gravy that is actually spicy and it's my favorite. It's probably my favorite gravy in town. Maybe I should have put that on the list, but
Do
it
we
wouldn't
have a gravy breakdown?
If we think hard enough, we can have a gravy bracket. So I'm really excited about my chicken fried steak tomorrow.
Sounds good. That was also a thing I grew up eating a lot of when I was. I moved past like the chicken strip. I was never like a chicken strip kid when I went to restaurants.
I swear they weren't that readily available when we were growing up. Or there was chicken fried chicken a lot. I would get that sometimes to switch it up. But yeah, chicken fried steak, that was what I wanted all the time for my birthday. And I was like, oh yeah, that's still a thing I really like. Let's do it.
Oh, that sounds really good. Chicken fried
Yeah.
steak, mashed potatoes.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go old school. I might switch it up and go baked potato. We'll see, but it's probably mashed potatoes and green beans. That's kind of the trinity right there.
Yeah, love it. I can't remember what I was going to add to the what did we learn. So
Save it for the next one because I got nothing.
great. That'll do it for us on this episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. Pumped for the new partnership with Adidas. Uniforms are great. Looking forward to seeing the rest of them come out over the coming days, maybe longer. But all thumbs up from us. Long live DQ White Gravy. Happy early birthday to Michael. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up, and let the tortillas fly.